clarify firstly, Paul, the situation with Renato Sanchez? Is he going back to Germany?
No, there is no news. He's been out of the last two squads, which obviously is not a particularly good situation for Renato. He's not very happy about it, but his reaction is very good in training today, very motivated, knows what he needs to do to break back into not only the 18 but also the 11 as well. So that's the only news there is about Renato.
This story seems to have emerged from Portugal. Do you think the Portuguese are maybe more concerned than the Germans are?
Oh, I haven't had any specific communication with Bayern regarding Renato's current situation. I believe that's come out of a news source in Portugal, so it's just speculation, nothing more than that.
Are there any circumstances in which his loan could be cut short?
Well, to be honest, contractually, I believe that he's signed for us for the season, and there were no stipulations in there about has to play this amount of games for him to stay for the full term. So, as far as I know, he's a player here with us for this season.
He hasn't been involved in the last two squads. Is he getting further away from where you want him to be at the moment rather than going forwards?
No, I hope that the realisation of how he's played and his inconsistency, and you can't expect to keep getting picked if you're not performing at the level. I have to think about the team first. Renato is a very good player, and I do believe that he can make a contribution for us, but in order for him to do that, he needs to start playing up to his potential, and when he does that, he'll feature a lot more.
At the moment, he looks like a young man whose confidence has been shattered. How do you go about piecing that confidence back together? Stay
with him, keep working with him, keep showing that you have belief in him, and an obvious answer would be, well, you have to keep him involved in the squads, but I'm more believing behind the scenes. You've got to work with him. You've got to work with him on the training ground. You've got to work with him in the video room, getting back to what he's capable of. Clearly his confidence is low, but it was low when he came here. Would have hoped that it would have gone back up to a very good level, but it's it's obviously taken more time than we all would have hoped.
In your heart, do you think that Swansea fans will see the best of him while he's here?
I really hope so. I can't predict the future. I know the skills I have in order to be able to try and get the best out of a young player. I believe in the skills that he has, and hopefully together we can work at a good solution.
Has he got any chance of making the squad for Monday?
Yeah, absolutely. If he trains like he did today and continues like that into the game, he will. And I always say to the players that when you've been left out of the 18, where you've been left out of the team, and you really want to play, you have to prove me wrong. You have to show me things that make me change my mind. And he's in a situation like a lot of players. They have to show me every day something that's going to make me change my mind.
It's interesting you say that, because one of the interesting quotes from Jupp Heynckes today was that he's got a lot of talent, Renato. Sometimes when you work with young, talented players, you have to be forceful. That was the word he used. Are you being forceful?
Well, I think maybe what I did over the last two games is showing that there's different ways that you can be forceful, and for me, there's nothing more forceful than being left out of the 18.
Wednesday night, any injuries from that game?
No, there was a little bit of concern about Wilfried, and that's why he came off. But in the end, that was more precautionary, and he's okay. Wayne Routledge has rejoined training, so no injury news.
And what about morale after that night? Has it taken a bit of a dent?
It was tough initially. You come into the dressing room, and you're always disappointed when you lose a game. We haven't been on the end of a receiving end of a performance like that, I don't think, in any game this season. I know the score, Man United ran up a big scoreline against us earlier in the season, but it was a totally different context to this game. In that game, it was very tight up until 70, 75 minutes, and it was only when we opened the game up a little bit in an attempt to get back in it that they really punished us. I think in this game it was different. They were clearly totally dominant, and it wasn't, from my point of view and my players' point of view, it wasn't a very nice experience to be on the receiving end of a performance like that. But you have to give respect to the opposition. They're a fantastic side, one of the best sides in Europe, one of the best sides I've ever come up against, and a big respect for them and what they're doing at the moment. What we have to do is to more focus on what happened against West Brom, the fighting spirit that we got over the line in a tight game, and build from that game into Everton and into Crystal Palace, and not think so much about what happened against Manchester City.
Danny Murphy said he thought the players were a bit soft. Was surprised nobody even picked up a booking. Is that a fair comment? And do you need more of that at Everton? I
think on reflection, looking back at that game, it was okay until the point that they scored, and then I thought from that point, we were really affected, and we became very passive in our defending. We weren't getting tight enough. We weren't aggressive enough, and that plays into their hands. They become even better at what they do. The trouble is, they're a team that if you do get very tight on them and you leave space behind, they play round you, and so we got caught in between in the end. We got caught in between, being tight and in a block and making it hard for them to get round us, and when to go and when to pressurise. We ended up doing neither, and that's a dangerous game to get into.
How do you view the Everton game now, in terms of where they are, where they were pre-Sam Allardyce, where they've been since he's been there?
He's obviously had a big impact. I think even the first game when he was in the stand and they had a 4-0 against West Ham, they've had a big turnaround since that point. My opinion on that team is that they've been in a false position. With the talent that they have available and their position that they had last season. Obviously they lost a big player in Lukaku, but they spent a good amount of money in making reinforcements to their squad. Obviously one of our players, Gylfi Sigurdsson as well. So they've done very well recently, and I think they're more in an area now where they should be, based on the squad of players that they have. Sam's obviously had an impact, and they're going to be looking to kick on.
How anxious are you and your players to nullify the effect of Gylfi Sigurdsson?
Oh no, not anxious. Gylfi's a good player. I think even himself, his own performances have probably picked up recently. I think he suffered along with the team early on, but is doing a lot better now. But they've got a lot of good other players on the field as well. You even take Rooney, for example, someone that's now getting on the score sheet. Looks like he's building confidence. Lennon's back in the team. Got good young players. Always a difficult place to go, particularly midweek. I know it's a Monday, but a night game. We've always had hard games there with all the teams that I've been there with.
If you find yourself 2 points adrift now, you could find yourself 5 points adrift on Monday, the pressure starts to crank up again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to think like that. I mean, the fact is now I think we're 4 points between us and 14th. We have 2 games, 6 points available before the turn into the second half of the season. I'd like to look at it that way, Graham. More positive. 6 points available to the halfway point. Let's get as many as we can.
Do you see it remaining very tight over the next few games into Christmas, and if you can cling on, so to speak, towards the end of the year, then you could start maybe turning it around? Is that the way you're looking?
Yeah, I think we need to try and get some valuable points in the next 2 games, starting with Everton and then a very important game against Crystal Palace at home. Stay in touch, don't get set adrift. That's going to help with confidence. We know we need to play better as a group, and then we're close to getting into January then, and hopefully we can do a couple of things that will help us.
Have you had any further talks with the owners about January and what you'd like to do?
Nothing specific. We're going to have some more conversations next week. But you know, when you're playing, we played midweek this week, and then we're playing again Monday. It's important to deal with the matters at hand, and then when there's that little break, then we can start getting more serious about what we're going to do.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, no problem.
Paul, this is the first time you have faced Gylfi since obviously the transfer in the summer. Looking back now, is there any regret from your side about how that sort of saga was able to go on as long as it did?
Well, the first thing I would say is that I would would like him to be here, but you know that wasn't the case. And the second thing is, yeah, obviously I would have liked it to have been done sooner, so we could have got plans in place quicker. But you know, we're a long way down the line now, so it's not really that important to reflect back. It's more about moving forward.
But did it undermine your transfer activity in the summer because it went on for as long as it did?
No, it didn't undermine me, but I think it was a frustration for anyone. I mean, the owners didn't want it to hang on that late, but they also wanted to maximise their their potential in terms of the asset that they had, and that's normal when you're an owner. And what you hope is that what you then get, that you can spend wisely in improving the team. But you know, we hit that period where it went on for so long, where neither party could agree, and that's why there was the delay.
And how much have you missed him, do you think, this season? Perhaps more than Fernando Llorente, because he was the one with all the assists and creating the chances that you managed to score from in the second half of last season.
So I don't go to bed every night and think, oh my God, I miss Gylfi and I miss Fernando. That's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the players that I have. I'm trying to improve the team. We've had a difficult period. They were two really good players for us, but you know, no good thinking about the past. It's about the present and the future.
Well, looking at the future, looking at January, learning the lessons from the summer, you said you want to sign new players. I think it goes without saying, given the position you're in. How important is it that you do your business as quickly as possible, given the predicament you find yourself in the table?
Yeah, of course. And we had, I think we can say that our summer window was less successful than we would have liked and hoped for. But our last January window was very successful. We had, Olsen, Carroll, Ayew and Narsing came in, and 3 out of those 4 players, and even Luciano, he had a good game against Burnley, which is a winning performance. All those 3 players made an impact immediately. They came straight into the team, and they're the kind of players that we need now in January. Players that are going to come in, going to go straight into the starting 11, going to make an impact immediately. What we don't need are squad players. We need players that are going to make the difference and get us over the line in these tight games. We've had 8 games where we've lost by 1 goal. How many games have Burnley won by 1 goal? Because they've had players that have made the difference in those dying moments. They've managed games very well. That's what we need to do.
Have you already highlighted individuals who you want to go for? Wheels in motion already?
Of course, the recruitment department and the chairman and the owners and myself are all talking regularly about potential targets. Of course, that's normal. That goes on all the time. It's not an easy window to operate in because you can have your targets. Well, he's really going to come in and help us, but are they available? Are they achievable that you can get them in? Does the player want to come? Does the salary fit in with the structure? Is the team that has the player likely to let him go? It's complicated. It's not as easy as just saying, yeah, that's who we want, we'll bring him in.
And is it difficult to attract people when you're bottom of the table? Do players look at where you are at the table?
No, of course they will. Of course they will. And there's a certain amount of risk associated with that. And when players are sitting down doing their contracts, they want guarantees about if they do go down, I'm able to leave, and I want my salary guaranteed at that level, and all those conversations. So it is a tough window to operate in. The advantage that we have, though, is that we were in the same situation last year, and we had an amazing second half of the season, and we sustained our Premier League status with 1 game to go on 41 points, and there were 5 teams below us. So we know we're capable of doing it.
And that experience, do you think that helps you, whereas perhaps some of the other clubs haven't been in a relegation fight at this level, like a Huddersfield?
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will help the players that were involved in that experience. It will help me. I didn't have that experience before, now I've had it. I know what it took to get there. I know it wasn't all plain sailing. We had some really difficult moments, particularly in the middle period. And I know we're a team that at the end of the season won 4 games out of 5. So the bad moment that we're in, and I say it's a bad moment but it's, we won the game before last, so we've got to build on from that. You can get out of a bad moment and then all of a sudden you wondered out why you were in it so long. And then the other way, it can work for other teams as well. You see some other teams that have not won a game in ages, and all of a sudden from that position they're in, they're sliding. A long way to go.
So you talked about teams having a run that turns around. Everton have had that. You said they're in a false position. Are they now out of trouble? Are they out of the contention, if you like, for those 3 places?
For the 3 places at the bottom.
They're gone now.
Yeah, I can't see them being a team that are going to be in a relegation battle.
How many teams do you think are still in it at this stage?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, I haven't got the league table here in front of me, but if you're on 18, 19 points, then you're in it.
From your point of view, the more teams that are in it, the better. You don't want anyone pulling away.
Of course, but it always comes back to ourselves, and if we're not getting results, you're not going to get out of it. But yeah, get 4 points out of the next 6, get 6 points out of the next 6. Everything looks different. Hi.
Talked about the Manchester City game, and before that, the fighting spirit that your side showed in that win against West Brom. So did you almost have to chalk off that Man City result, because they're still moving away with the league, aren't they?
Yeah, it's one of the things I said as soon as I went into the dressing room. So, some disappointment. We've been beaten by a really great side, but let's build forward now from what we did against West Brom. I would have liked us to have played better against Manchester City, make more of a fight of it, show our battling spirit a little bit more, even if it was just about keeping some momentum going forward from West Brom, because you can still lose a game, but play with a lot more spirit and better. So yeah, that was disappointing, but okay, let's put that aside and move forward from West Brom rather than from Man City.
And going to Everton on Monday, is this perhaps a bad time to play them? I think they've had 10 points in the last 4 matches, so they'll be full of confidence, won't they?
I would always expect a difficult game going to Everton, under the lights, hot atmosphere, very passionate fans, the Evertonians, difficult stadium, and yeah, they've picked up a couple of results. But if we play well, we'll have a chance there for sure.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, no problem. All right, thank you.